Hey there, guys. As you can tell, I'm a little bit blue today, but I did just see James Cameron's Avatar, The Way of Water, which is essentially the most expensive movie ever made and took 58 years to come out. But you know what? After watching it in the cinema, I couldn't believe my own eyeballs. I was like, this is finally happening. Like, I'm not imagining this. I didn't take psychotropic hallucinogens. No, I did not. Even though it sort of looks like I did. And I assure you, I did not. Even though that would have made maybe the experience a little bit more entertaining. But you can just tell why this movie took so long and cost so much, because it is up on the screen. This movie just looks expensive. It's awesome. It's immersive. And now let me get rid of the weird Avatar looking face. Unless you guys prefer this. Actually, I think I look better as an Avatar. I'm just putting it out there. I think we all would. Okay, is that better? Actually, not as good. I know. Sort of a letdown. I wish I was blue. But as far as the first Avatar film goes, if you've been watching me for a long time now, you probably know I really enjoyed the movie. I like pure escapism. I like a spectacle. Sometimes when you watch a film or a movie, I guess the best way to describe this is a movie, because it's not The Shawshank Redemption. It's not Pulp Fiction. No. Sometimes it's okay just to eat popcorn and have pure escapism and entertainment that makes you feel like a little kid once again. And that's what I want sometimes. That's what we need more of in Hollywood. And if anyone's a master craftsman at that, it's James Cameron. He knows how to perfect those types of movies and not make them feel cheap. He makes them feel grandiose, bigger than life, a spectacle event. Take movies like T2 Judgment Day. By the way, Okay, I'm gonna try to. I've been in this movie theater many times before, and I got lost last time I came here. So let's walk down a creepy dark hallway and try not to get murdered. Even though, actually, can I walk down here? I'll walk over here. So as far as this goes, there's a lot of water, The Way of Water, obviously, and I'm feeling a little bit wet, if you know what I mean. And come on, don't be a weirdo. But speaking of wet, this film feels like a 3-hour James Cameron wet dream. And I mean that in the most respectful way I possibly can. I know it sounds like a crude joke, but this is a movie. This is the movie that James Cameron wanted to make. This is everything that he's ever wanted to put on a screen. And he got to do it. Isn't that the craziest thing? Like imagine having the most vivid dream of all time, like the biggest spectacle. You go on this grand adventure, but he got to make it. And no one else in Hollywood probably could ever get this movie made. I mean, the amount of money that went into this film, the CG, the effects. I will say, I loved like 90% of it, as far as like the effects go. And there's some things that kind of don't look perfect, but I mean, that would be nitpicking, because the things that do look perfect, the photorealism, it blows anything else that's coming out nowadays. Like, compare this movie to like a Marvel film that you've watched recently, just the CG, the effects, the cinematography, the actual like epic tone of it all. And it doesn't even compare. It blows them out of the water, no pun intended. But what else can I say about this film? I want to do a full-fledged spoiler review at some point, because there's a lot to say that I'm forgetting right now, because there's somebody looking at me in the distance over there. But that's okay, because I'm talking about blue people and you can't hurt me. I will say it's 3 hours long. It gets a little self-indulgent. And what do I mean by that? As I walk down the creepy stairs into nowhere, is there's some sequences where you could tell James Cameron, who loves water. He's obsessed with water. I mean, he's done documentaries about the Titanic. He directed The Abyss. He's directed Titanic itself. I'm walking back upstairs because there's a lot of people. So he got to pretty much do whatever he wanted with water in this film, and it shows, because there's like a 25-minute sequence of a whale and people swimming around in the ocean, and it's beautiful to look at, but it comes across as a little slightly indulgent. And it was fine to watch the first time, but I think upon replay, it would, like, you can feel the runtime eating away. And the best comparison I can give you is, as far as like big spectacles go that get indulgent, something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? The docking scene with the spaceships and the space station, it looks beautiful. Could you imagine watching that in cinemas back in the 1960s? Oh, so great, amazing, epic. But then you watch it again and again, and you're like, I like this movie, but I could skip past this part a little bit. Like, it looks great, but do I need 25 minutes of it? It sort of takes away from the story. And as far as the story of this film goes, I heard footsteps. As far as the story of this film goes, I think it's fair to say that the story is here to service the technical side of this movie, right? I think the story was like the second most important thing. and the technical aspects were the priority here. But that's not to say it's not a good story. It's simple. It's a copy and paste for the most part of the first movie. Almost beat for beat, more or less. I mean, they do switch a few things up, but I think story-wise, if you didn't love the first film, you might actually enjoy this a little bit more. I would say this is slightly more original than the first film, you know, compared to some other pre-established films and stories and arcs. But there's a lot of things that you can see coming from a mile away, but that doesn't mean it wasn't fun to see them coming. Does that make any sense? So anyway, guys, as far as my thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water goes, I'm gonna make another video about this, but it was like being on a thrill ride in Disney World and just being so immersed into it and enjoying it. And I know a lot of people are probably going to say the same thing. It feels like a Universal ride that goes on for 3 hours. And yeah, that's true. But at the same time, just when it needs to, it slows down enough to give you the emotion, the effects. Like, I just couldn't take my eyes off of them. And this is shot with 48 frames per second at times. It has a variable frame rate throughout the film. So at times, a lot of the action sequences and heavy 3D sequences will be shot with 48 frames. And then the movie slows down to 24 frames per second every once in a while to give you more of that classic cinematic magic glow look. And it's even the technical way that they actually made that happen was really interesting. They basically duplicated what they did is basically every frame that was shot in 48 frames per second, they duplicated it to almost slow it down so it looks like 24. Yeah, I'm just in a big empty mall right now. The movie theater screening was over there, and by the way, it was a press screening, which is just glorious. I like you guys, but I hate people in movie theaters at this point in my life. But yeah, as far as Avatar: The Way of Water goes, was it worth waiting 13 years? I mean, it showed on screen. It definitely looked like they were upping their game. Do I feel like this should have come out 5 years ago? Yes, absolutely. But nevertheless, if you enjoyed the first one, this is a good time, if not bigger. You know, in many ways, there's segments and sequences in this film I think I enjoy more than the first one. But there's other things that get a little bit bogged down and a little bit self-indulgent. If anything, I feel like this film takes longer to make the same point that the first one already did in so many ways. But either way, guys, that's my quick review, or quick first reaction walking around an empty theater of Avatar: The Way of Water. Leave your thoughts, your opinions down below. I think I'm going to get kicked out of here anytime soon, and I will do another video talking all about this movie very soon. And like I said, I do want to do a spoiler video because there's some stuff I didn't like that much that I have to, like, spoil at some point. As always, guys, take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.